Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Five Nights at Freddy's character concept series. So in today's video, the character looking into is Wilbur the Walrus. So we're going to this character's location, gameplay mechanics, backstory, and all that good stuff as well. As always, I will just state that everything I say in these videos isn't necessarily into the overall lore and universe of FNAF. This is just a fun, creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. And lastly, before we start today's video, do be sure to subscribe to GamerTube as it helps out a lot and it keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty everyone, well, let's get into the character concept of Wilbur the Walrus. So in our previous video, we were introduced to the North Pole Pizzeria. An Arctic-themed pizzeria with multiple frozen attractions and characters. The characters we've met so far have been Patrick the Polar Bear and Preston the Penguin. Both of these twisted animatronics were hell-bent on attacking the player. Our main protagonist, the employee, has done their best to fend off every attempt to enter the security office. But now they face another night shift, and with a new night shift comes a brand new character. So for our next character, we have Wilbur the Walrus. Wilbur was obviously designed after the large blubbery animals, the walrus. These Arctic animals are most famous for their large tusks protruding from their mouths. Instead of going with the brown colour scheme, they instead went for a bright lavender colour scheme with reddish eyes. Wilbur's body frame was quite different to most of the other characters. Considering that walruses are stocky creatures that are naturally lower to the ground, Wilbur's stature is one of the shortest ones out of the animatronics. Instead of robotic hands and feet, they were given large flippers. Despite not having any hands, this didn't affect Wilbur's role up on stage. So the instrument that Wilbur played up on stage was the piano. So alongside the rest of the band, Wilbur would play his miniature piano. Of course, with his large flippers, he couldn't really be playing the piano. What all the guests heard was merely a recording over the speakers. There were times here and there in which Wilbur would perform piano solos while the other characters walked around with the guests. Wilbur wasn't considered to be one of the most popular characters though. But they definitely still had a fan base, that's for sure. Overall, Wilbur was considered to be a successful character at the North Pole Pizzeria. That was until their unfortunate accident happened. And like all the other characters, they too would change in a dark and sinister way. So, like all the Freddy Fazbear animatronics, Wilbur had his own unique quirks and characteristics. The one that stood out the most was Wilbur's obsession with his piano. He loved the thing. He always went out of his way to make sure it was clean and in great condition. Wilbur himself couldn't really do much besides dust the piano with his big material flippers, but whenever the workers gave it a good wipe down from all the sticky soda and candy, this pleased Wilbur very much. But the one thing that wouldn't please Wilbur was if anyone played his piano. There were strict instructions set in place that stated that no one was allowed to play Wilbur's piano. He was known to be quite protective of it and aggressive towards anyone who sat down and attempted to play it. Funny enough, the children rarely went next to the piano. And even if they did, Wilbur wouldn't really mind. It was more the workers and parents he cared about. Deep down, Wilbur knew kids were only kids. So on one unfortunate night, the security guard was roaming around the pizzeria before their shift started. They had a little free time, so they thought they'd take a look around. This was of course in the early days of their employment, before they mysteriously disappeared. They wandered up on stage and sat in front of Wilbur's piano. Unknown to everyone else, the night guard could actually play the piano, and they were quite good at it as well. They used to play when they were younger. The unfortunate thing was the security guard wasn't aware of the strict no playing the piano rule. and with no employees to tell him otherwise, they would soon find themselves in some trouble. They pressed one key after the other and the loud music bellowed from the piano. This of course caught the attention of Wilbur. As he stood there watching his precious piano being played by another, a strong jealous rage washed over him. All of a sudden, Wilbur charged at the piano. He crashed straight into it, knocking the night guard off the stage. The night guard stood up and watched as Wilbur destroyed the piano right in front of them. Without mercy, Wilbur smashed the piano into pieces. He couldn't stand the thought that someone else had played his piano. And to add insult to injury, someone that was better at the piano than him. As Wilbur smashed the piano, their body got badly damaged in the process. All the jagged pieces of wood and the sharp piano wire sliced and tore through Wilbur's body. After they were done, what was left was not a sight to behold. Now that piano couldn't be played by anyone. Wilbur's next target was the night guard. Fortunately, the night guard has already made their way towards the security office and was safe for the time being. But ever since this incident, Wilbur's always had it out for the night guard. But now fast forward to the current day, and Wilbur's piano has been replaced, and the pizzeria has done their best to keep Wilbur in a presentable state. They could never attach the broken tusk back on, so they just left it. That was until the manager ordered a new industrial strength glue that would stick it back together. It was the employee's job to repair Wilbur's tusk before their third night shift. So later that night, they moved Wilbur to the repair room and got to work. They had to cut open the new box that the glue came in. It was filled with packing peanuts. It seemed unnecessary for a single bottle of glue. They rummaged around and pulled out something that didn't feel like a bottle of glue. It was another one of these VHS tapes. What was it doing inside a brand new sealed box? But regardless, like always, their curiosity got the best of them and they couldn't wait to watch it. So they ran over to the VCR and inserted the tape. Hoping for more answers, they eagerly awaited the VCR to start up. These VHS tapes were getting weirder and weirder. The employee was beginning to wonder if these were even real. Were they just fancy special effects? But then again, how would they even pull off those effects on a VHS? Regardless, they spent enough time watching the tape and now they have to start their shift. They'll glue Wilbur's tusk back on in the morning. So whilst the employee walked to the security office, Wilbur waited in the shadows. Now, one would think, why would Wilbur attack even though the employee hasn't touched the piano? Well, to Wilbur, it didn't really matter. If anyone was wearing that uniform, they were considered a threat to the piano. Wilbur would rather take them out rather than risk the night guard touching what was rightfully theirs. So now let's get into the gameplay segment of the video. As always, the gameplay loop follows the classic FNAF formula of observation and management. The player would need to keep a lookout for all the other characters, including Wilbur. So his starting place would always be the main stage. Around 1 or 2 AM is when Wilbur will make their move. Whenever they approach the right hand door, the player would need to shut it immediately. It depends if Wilbur will leave the door or not after it closes. Sometimes he'll leave, and other times he'll stay until a certain action is performed. The player would need to trigger the piano music on the main stage. This would cause Wilbur to run away and investigate. After the player is forced to play the piano music, this would cause Wilbur to become more aggressive. This enraged state would allow him to approach from both doors now. He would storm towards the doors and even push other characters out of the way. If Wilbur shoves another character, this also enrages that specific character, and grants them the ability to access both doors as well. So not only can Wilbur affect the moods of the other characters, but himself wouldn't calm down until the end of the night. This increased aggression and the manipulation of other characters would definitely put the pressure on the player. If they aren't careful and get overwhelmed, then they'd be greeted with a classic FNAF jump scare. So I think Wilbur is another great addition to the North Pole Pizzeria. Their angry attitude and the ability to enrage the other characters is definitely a unique mechanic, and it would prove to be challenging for the player. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let us know in the comment section down below what you thought of Wilbur and what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, well, to the next video, catch you later, bye.